Hey guys, how you doing? Troy here. It is a Sunday afternoon. I'm excited to be with you. I want to give you a quick rendition of our origin story as to why I started Relevant with my co-founder and what we're doing and really how we came to where we are today. So let's get into it. Now, as most of you may know, I led the international expansion at 4 different unicorns from Silicon Valley into the rest of the world. And it was during the course of those 15 years that I did this activity that I figured out a formula that works most every time for companies in the B2B SaaS space to get to new revenue in a market quickly. Now, why did I figure this out? How did I figure this out? Let me answer the why first. The why is because all of these companies had really huge budgets. Each one had raised over $100 million. But the marketing budget that I got for international expansion was much, much smaller than the overall marketing budget for the company. I'm talking a lot smaller. So while the company at the headquarters level could pour money into top line growth, meaning not profitable growth on the marketing front, I couldn't. I had to do it on a profitable basis, which means every dollar of marketing I put in, I had to get at least $1.50 to $2 out. That's very difficult to do, but I figured it out, and I'm going to share that with you today. Now, let's get into, I'm going to draw a few things with you here. Well, before I get to that, let me actually just say, what I'm really excited about, and I guess why I started Relevant, is everything that I learned, all the problems and pain that I went through at these companies to figure out how to make them successful, is just as applicable to smaller startups. During the course of my career, I've mentored hundreds of different startups and applied these principles that I learned at these unicorns so that they could be successful as well. And the good news is that these principles work just as well for a younger startup, a non-unicorn startup, as they do for a unicorn startup. So that's why I started Relevant, is to spread the word and get as many successful B2B founders out there in the world utilizing these concepts. Now, let me give you a little overview of what the problems were that I had to solve for in order to make this all a reality. There were really 3 main marketing problems, or 3 main problems overall, that I had to solve for in order to be successful. Now, if you look at the middle of this, MRR, if MRR is our goal and revenue is our goal, then we have to overcome these 3 problems that I have outlined here in red. The first one that I noticed is most companies don't have a marketing system in place. They don't have a clearly defined ICP, or ideal customer profile. If we don't know exactly who the customer is that we're going after, how do we expect to find them? How do we expect to target them? So that was one thing that I focused on initially. Now, after we know who the ICP is, we need to come up with an offer for them that they can't refuse. And I call this the irresistible offer. Once we have an ICP that's well focused with an irresistible offer, then the trick is landing page is to create a landing page that is focused on that ICP and the outcome that you want. Now, most of the unicorns that I worked for would simply send traffic to the website, which is kind of the worst thing you can do in the marketing world. Now, more and more people are learning this, but back in the day, people thought, oh, if I just put traffic to my website, they'll do what I want them to do. Not the case. We need to send them to a landing page that constrains their options. We don't want a bunch of links on there to talk about us and all that stuff. That's for your web page. The landing page is very focused on talking directly to that ICP in language they understand, giving them an offer that's compelling, and then letting them take action for what you want them to do, whether it's signing up to your application or actually executing a contract with you. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So these are the 3 major things, and there's a lot of other playbooks that tie into this, but these are the 3 observations that I made that helped me solve the pain of having no marketing system. Now, the next problem that we come across is not having any leads. This is a common refrain that I hear from a lot of startups is we're just not conversing with or talking with enough potential customers. So how do we generate leads? Now, what I did for lead generation is I figured out how to make it automated. Automation is critical to getting leads. You should be getting leads every day that you can be following up with and working with. So automation is one key thing that I figured out how to do. And then the other thing is qualification. Once you have a lead engine that's working, right, that's bringing in leads every day, we're going to learn who the actual people are that are more apt to convert. Once we understand that profile a little better, we can then put in some qualification gates in place that'll make sure that you're only talking with people who are well qualified for the offer that you're making for them. So this is really an important concept and something that made all the difference for me when it came to building these unicorns in new marketplaces. Now, once we have leads, it definitely creates a new problem, which is how do we sell? Most startups and most founders don't know how to sell effectively. So what we do on the sales front, I noticed, was the pitch / deck is really important, but more important is the flow of the sales call. So this is something that we work with a lot of startups on, is making sure that they have the perfect sales call that has a high degree of conversion, getting people to sign into or sign a contract with them for what they're offering. And then the other thing is proposals. If you're selling a higher ticket offer, a higher ticket program or software package, we need to make sure that if they need to go and convince their co-founder or their investors, etc., to do this deal with us, we need to make sure that the proposal acts as a sales document for them. We don't want to leave it just to them to explain what we do. We want the proposal to be impressive, something that when they share it with their co-founder or investors or other executives at their company, that people are impressed and say, wow, I understand why you want this, right? It makes it easier to sell. Another thing that the proposal allows us to do is knock down objections that we know they have in their mind so that we can get past those and get to a signed document. And lastly, in the proposal, we suggest that you include the actual contract in a digital format that they can sign, like a DocuSign, on the spot so that they can get signed up really quickly. And then we'll associate some urgency with that to give them a motivation to get it signed. That can be attached to a benefit, attached to a something that they lose if they don't sign in time, etc. So that is something that really makes a lot of difference. So if we review, the problems that we need to overcome as a startup selling into new markets is putting together a marketing system that works and that's profitable, generating leads on an automated, consistent basis and qualifying them so that we can convert them efficiently. And lastly, the sales portion, making sure that we have an amazing pitch deck, we have an amazing script for the sales call, and we have a proposal that helps bring it all home so that people will be confident to sign with us. Now, once I figured all of this out for the unicorns that I was working with, we were able to do amazing things. We took Drata, which is a cybersecurity startup, from 0 in revenue to 20 million in ARR in only 18 months. And at Evernote, when we released Evernote Business, we were able to take it from 0 to 5 million in revenue within a year. So these are powerful concepts that can really open up revenue for you and your business so that you can get to that next level, get that next round of funding, build the team out further, and continue to see success going forward. So if you're interested in working with us a little more directly, we're here for you. We do only take a few select people into our Revenue Launchpad program, where I work with you directly to come up with everything that you need, all the tooling, all the landing page copy, etc., to be successful in a new marketplace. If you're interested in that, you can DM me or anyone on my team and we'll set up a Zoom call, provided that you qualify, and we can have that conversation. So look forward to talking with all of you soon. Have a great rest of your weekend. I hope this was helpful to understand really where I'm coming from and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I love working with startups. I love sharing with startups what I've learned that works as a repeatable process to generate revenue in new markets. Let's get out there and do it today.